it's Shayna Lynn. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I'm switching gears just a bit and we're going to focus on knitting today. And yes, I am a beginner knitter. I have only knitted 3 hats and I have a couple test squares that I've done. I really wanted to start from like the very beginning and document my journey, but I didn't. And I'm really kind of bummed out about it, but I'm gonna go through and give you my little tips as a beginner for beginners. When I first dived into knitting was probably a couple years ago, maybe 3, and we were on vacation and I just wanted something new to do on our downtime in the apartment. And so I went to Walmart and I just got these size 7 needles, and they're very slick and they're very small. And then I just got your normal worsted weight yarn that's a size 4. And so at night I decided to sit down and I was going to try it and I couldn't do it, and I was getting so frustrated because I already knew how to crochet. I thought this was going to come a little bit easier and it didn't, and then I just gave up until just here recently. When I started here recently again, I picked up those same needles and the same yarn and was getting very frustrated with it. But I really wanted to try and do this time. So I went online and I've been researching, and the best advice I have for a new beginner is to get wool yarn like this that is Super Bulk 6 wool, and get knitting needles that are wooden and that are bigger. This is a US size 17. Game changer, let me tell you, because you can hold on to it better, you have better control, and the wool will kind of stick on this, excuse me, just a bit more than the small, just slick needles. This, you can kind of feel it has a different, they definitely have a different feel to them, a different texture. So my number 1 tip, if you don't do anything else, before you give up, try it with the wooden, bigger needles and wool yarn, and try it that way. And I think that you'll be able to get it with practice. Here's one of my samples with that. You can see the stockinette stitch and the pearls on the back. I was so excited. Also, I did not know that this was not just a knit stitch. I thought when you knitted over and over again, it came out to be this. That's not right. So this is called a stockinette stitch, and that's what most people probably think of when they think of knitting. And if you are not knitting in the round, then what you have to do is knit 1 row, and then you're working on the back row, so then you have to purl it. And then you knit and purl, knit and purl. I was getting so frustrated because I'm like, why isn't it coming out to look like the pretty braids? Because I didn't know. So that's kind of tip number 2, or if you're getting frustrated because yours isn't looking like the braids, it's because you're only knitting and not knitting, purl. Now, if you're knitting in the round and you're just doing knitting over and over and over again, then it's going to look like that because you're not flip-flopping the fabric back and forth. So I think I knitted like 5 different one of just these little squares, and I don't know how to finish it yet like this, but I do know how to finish it on the round. So I did that, and then I tried with this little tiny yarn, and I was like, okay, well, what next? What do I do next? So the route I went was learning how to knit in the round. And so that's what I did next. I was like, I don't know where to go from here. What should I do? So that's where I went. I started making these little preemie little hats. And you can definitely see where I messed up, especially on this rim right here. I got, this side looks pretty good, but halfway through, I accidentally, when I was supposed to be purling, I knitted, and then it ended up that way. And then somehow I have like where I decreased, I was like decreasing somehow. I have no clue how that happened. So yeah, this is my first little project that I did. And knitting in the round is a whole new ball game too. I'm excited to start doing hats, and I'm like, oh, I want to do preemie hats and I want to donate them. And then I have this, which I think is 24 inches long, like this, 24 inches. And I was trying to do a little preemie hat on this, and that is not right. If you want to do a preemie hat, what I got was a 10-inch one. So it's very small. Let's see if I can find it for you. This is my little preemie one I use for my preemie hats. It's very small, 10 inches. And it's a US size 7 needles. And it's wood, so it has like a little bit of that grip texture to it. And this one so far is my favorite for the preemie hats. I went to Hobby Lobby. I had to order this one, and it seems like there is a lot less of a selection for knitting needles than there is for crochet needles. Excuse me. But I also have the 16-inch one, which works well too. But as a beginner, I had no idea that the length of the circular needles changed at all. So I wanted to put that out there, that there is different lengths for circular needles. So 16, 10, and 24. And a lot of the kits don't come with the 10 either. I almost feel like they start at the 24 when I was looking. But you also don't need the circular needles. You can knit in the round with the double pointed needles, which is what these are. They have a point on each end. And every single one of my hats I have had to end with double pointed needles. So I'd say even if you have a circular needles, you're going to need these two to end with. Another tip that I suggest is you can buy these gloves at almost any craft store. I've seen them at Joann's, and I've also seen them at Hobby Lobby. I'm sure they're at Michael's as well. But you put them on, and then they're supposed to help support your hand for the fiber crafts that you're doing. You can do crochet, embroidery, knitting, and I highly suggest them. And it just gives your hand like the extra support when you're doing the repetitive movements over and over again. I was so excited about these hats that I did not use these, and I could not use my hand hardly over the weekend at all. So yes, so I will definitely be using these from now on. So far I've done this hat, which was my first one. I was actually pretty proud of myself. This is the only part. The other part was just knitted, so it's not anything special, but I was excited. This is my first project. And then I did this one, which I did not, this is the yarn itself. I'll show you what the yarn is. This is the yarn. It's Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek Low Pill Fiber, and that's what it looks like. And then this one is what it looks like as a hat. These are all preemie size hats. And this one came out a lot better. I was able to see when I needed to purl and when I needed to knit. So if I dropped it and came back to it, I was able to see which one was which I needed to do, because I'm getting better, yay. This one was my own design. I've been trying to do multicolored Fair Isle knitting, and I kind of tried to do my own design as well. So it looks a little bit different. So this is what it looks like. I think it's still pretty cute, but I definitely have spaces of improvement here. It's not as stretchy because the inside looks like this. and it's a little bit longer because I was trying to get all of the design on there. So this is the one I did. I did two-handed knitting with this. So I was excited I was able to do the two-handed knitting. And so I want to keep designing. But that is just my little, I am so sorry, my little bit of tips and tricks as a beginner, for the beginners, because I was getting frustrated at some things when I didn't need to get frustrated about. I was doing it the right way, I just didn't know. So I hope that helps for anyone who is wanting to knit, and have a great day.